So today we're going to talk about how to use your Azure Functions in a secure way. So just a little introduction about myself. My name is NicoDeCleyre. I have 13 years experience as a Microsoft 365 developer, and I'm a competent center lead at Ordina. I'm a father of two lovely girls, and I'm also a proud member of the Nerdy Running Turtles. That is a community on Twitter where we like to challenge each other to stay in shape. It's not about competition; it's just about staying in shape. So to do a quick find on Twitter for us if you want to join. So today the agenda is we're going to talk about the 5 authorization levels that there are. And we are also going to talk about how to secure your Azure Functions with Azure Active Directory, or as we have to say now, Microsoft Entra ID. So about Azure Functions, they offer a robust serverless compute platform where we can empower developers to build and deploy applications with ease. Yet, as we unleash the potential of our functions to, like, for instance, our Microsoft 365 SPFX solutions or Power Up solutions, the security becomes a very paramount consideration. So in this demo, we will delve into the Azure Functions security, exploring the available authentication levels and the best practices to use when you want to safeguard your applications and data. The levels we will discuss today can invoke your functions, and how we will determine how we can invoke your functions and how they can do it. So let's delve into these levels. The first one is the anonymous authentication level. This level offers no security and allows anyone to invoke your functions without any authentication. It might be suitable for read-only operations that involve non-sensitive data, but I don't really should say that you want to use that one. It just may be recommended in production for just read-only data, and you can also eventually use it with an identity provider, but we will see that later. The second one is the user authentication level. It's still present. We will see that later, but it's actually an unused legacy value and should not be used in modern Azure Functions. I have done some research on this, and I have found this little comment on the GitHub repository where they are saying that it is actually not used as today. The third one is the function authentication level. The function authentication level is a little bit more secure. It's in combination with an app key. You can find these keys in the app sections of your Azure Functions in the portal, more specific in the host key section of the app keys. Function authentication can be used with the following keys, like the master key, which is actually for admin access, but you can also use it when you select the function authentication level. And you can also use the default key that is recommended to use in this case. You can pass the key as a query string with your API, or you can use it in the header with the X functions key parameter. Keep in mind that when you use a key in this case, that the key is exposable. So if it's retrieved, it can be not that secure, but the key can be renewed in the portal in case it is exposed. Then we have the admin authentication level. The admin authentication level, you use that with the master key, not a default key. It's actually quite the same as a function key, just that you don't use the default key, but you have to use a master key for this. This for a little bit more security. And just like the function key, you can pass it as a query string or in the X function key parameter in the headers. And you can also renew it if the key is exposed. The last one is a system authentication level. That's not something I have particularly used already, but it is present. It is actually used for extension-specific function endpoints called by internal components. The scope of system authentication is determined by the extension and cannot explicitly be set. But like I said before, I've not really used it, so we will not see that in this demo later on. Next to the authentication levels, you can also use an identity provider. And for me, that's the best case to use because that's for me the most secure way to use your Azure functions. You can do this by integrating an identity provider like Microsoft Entra ID, but it requires a little more configuration. You have to create an app registration from your Azure function. And you have to set up redirect URLs and obtain client credentials. Next to the app registration, you have to set the authentication level to anonymous. So we will see that later in the function where you have to set that level. And this means that we don't secure the Azure function with an authentication level, but the authentication is done by the identity provider itself. Once authenticated, the identity provider will return a token, an access token, which then can be used to secure your function access. So let's do a quick demo. Hope that the demo codes are in a very good shape. First of all, we will create an Azure function. We do that by clicking on a new Azure function here. Click on Next, and we will give our Azure function a name. Oops. Next. Nothing special here. We had just use, as you can see here, the authorization level is set on function, but for now we will set it on anonymous because we will start there. And we click on create. So then our Azure function gets created locally. So we get a little template that is already present for us. We will just remove this thing because we don't need it, and we will just say a response message, hello, PNP community. That's it. We will save it and we will publish it. Click here on Azure Function app. Just click on next. I already created one earlier today in the portal, so I will just click this one. I will say publish it to that Azure function, and we click on finish. So that's it. Now it should be published. No, not yet. We just have to click on publish. And still busy. I will start Postman already because we needed to test our API later on. If it's published, okay. We will go already to the portal. We will get the. We will see when it's published here. Let's refresh it. Normally it should show up, and there we go. We have our function. So in our portal, we will go to our function and we will get the URL. Click here on get function URL, and we just gonna copy it. We're going to Postman, and we're going to do a post to that API, and we're just going to send. Because there's anonymous authentication, we just get in 200 OK, and we see hello PNP community call. That's the message that we set that we want to return from our Azure function. That's it. That's nothing special about anonymous, but also nothing secure about it. Next one we will use is the function authentication level. We will republish our Azure function. It will be a bit quicker now. Okay. Still busy. Waiting, should be okay in a second. There it is. It's published. We will redo our API call, and now we see that it's unauthorized because we didn't provide the key. So we will go back to our Azure function portal. And as you can see here in the left, you have app keys. And here you can see we have two keys, the master and the default key. We can show that value and we can copy it. And then we can do our call with the query string code is, and then we just paste that code. When we click on send now, you see it gives us an OK, and we have the response message. You don't have to put it as a query string. You can also put it as an X function key header parameter. So if you put it there and we click on send, then we get also a 200 OK message back. And the third one is the admin. Oh wait, just forgot. You have two options. You have the function key from here, but you also can have multiple functions in your Azure function, and they have a separate key. So if we go to the function itself, you can see that the function itself also has a default key. You see that's a different one, but that's something you can also use. So if, for example, we replace this with this other key and we click on send, that also works. And the last one, the admin. We publish it. We're going to let it publish. In the meantime, we will already get our key. You see the function has only a default key, not a master key. The master key is only present in the Azure function portal itself. So if we click here, first what we are going to do to show is we're going to copy the default key back again, and we will going to put it in here. And when we do now a send, you will see an unauthorized because admin doesn't accept the default key, just only the master key. So now we're going to copy the master key. We're going to use that one, and we're only going to click send, and there we go. We have successful API call. After that, you also have the identity provider. For the identity provider, you have to set your authorization level to anonymous. So we're going to redo anonymous. We're going to publish it. We're going to let it publish. In the meantime, we're going to set up our identity provider. To use the identity provider, you have to use an app registration. Don't create it separately, but you have to create it from in your Azure function itself. So we click here on Authentication. Okay, there we go. Now we can click on Add an Identity Provider. Then here you can choose your identity provider, but for now we're going to select Microsoft. We're just going to create a new app registration. The name is already filled in, nothing special here. And you can choose what HTTP code you want to get back when you're unauthorized. For this one, we're going to select 401. Next is the permissions. Nothing special about this one. Just user read is enough. We're going to add it. It just take a while. There we go. Now we have our app registration. And now we will go back to Postman. For this one, we click on the authorization tab, and we're going to select OAuth 2.0 to get our access token. We just need a couple of parameters. First of all, we need the callback URL. For that, we go to our app registration. We click on it. We click on Authentication, and there you have your redirect URL. You have to copy that one, and we use that one in here. Then we need the auth URL and the token URL. Those one can be found at the start overview screen of your app registration. At the endpoints, you see here the auth URL, authorize, and the token URL. These two we need. We're gonna pass them in here, and the other one in here. And then we need a client ID and a client secret. The client ID is already present in the portal. We can just copy it here, client ID, and then the client secret. Just going to create another one now. There we go. We copy it, client secrets, and then we just only need the scope. The scope is your client ID followed by /.default. So that one we paste in here, and now we can get our access token. Get access token, get a screen, click on accept, and authentication completes. We go to proceeds, and we get an access token back, and we can click on use token. What you see now in your API in the header, you get a Postman adds an extra parameter authorization, and then your bearer space token. If you now click on send, you will see that it gets a successful API response back. So that's it. I hope you guys learned a lot about it. So thank you for your time.